This One News update is brought to you by ANZ. We live in your world.
Kia ora, good evening. Wild weather's caused major problems in both islands today.
In a moment, we'll go live to Matt McLean in Wellington after high winds battered the capital. But first, serious flooding in the South Island has forced evacuations and all but isolated the west coast. Floodwaters forced the closure of the Lewis and Arthurs passes. Both roads are now open, but others in the area remain closed. The worst of the flooding was just inland from Greymouth on State Highway 7. Charlotte Bellis reports.
The west coast gets a lot of rain, but this storm system brought the region to a halt. More than 250 mils of rain flooded farms, killed stock and had police on evacuation duty near Greymouth.
So far we've had to pluck a mother and her baby from the water, and also a farmer with a whole heap of sheep. They have been rescued also up the Grey Valley.
4311, State Highway 7.
Police worked with our cameraman to try to reach residents at Totara Flat. Instead, they found pets at risk from rising waters. Road closures made travel near impossible, with children stuck at school in Greymouth, some getting out just in time.
Yeah, we came home because the school was getting a bit flooded.
Farmers did their best to rescue stranded motorists.
A bit damp.
When it does happen, farmers know how to mobilise themselves. We've got a system in place where everybody just pulls together. Civil Defence is on standby, but the network we have around is excellent and we monitor it.
The focus is now turning to Greymouth as floodwaters merge into the Grey River. The peak is expected in town at 6:30 tonight.
We've put our flood barriers all around the town in place, so we've got our fingers crossed everything will be okay.
The word from the Mayor to his people.
But there are a lot of roads closed at the moment, so some of you might have to actually just be stranded for a while. You have to be patient, put your radio on and listen to it.
As the night goes on and the front steams north, the Regional Council is continuing to monitor Buller and Karamea rivers. Nervous flooding will be mirrored up the coast. Charlotte Bellis, One News.
And the capital has soldiered on through its fair share of bad weather today. Matt McLean joins us now with the details. Matt.
Simon, those icy cold winds that we're so famous for are still around and still strong, although nowhere near as severe as they were this morning. And there have been some casualties today. This Trigg station is one of them. It actually started all the way up here, but was blown off the hillside and landed back down here by the sheer force of the winds. It was one of those days in Wellington, the day where you regretted bothering with your hair, where plane passengers gripped to their armrests for dear life, and where even our cameramen had trouble holding on to their gear.
I was in a building just on Taranaki Street and it felt like it was going to collapse. It was really awful.
And it was intense as I actually had to lean forward to get around the corner. My hat flew off and flew up over the station. 2 Air New Zealand flights from Auckland to Wellington were cancelled by the weather. We stumbled across this petrol station, battening down the hatches, so to speak, attaching the roof by wires to stop it falling off.
I thought it was going to be catastrophic at 10:30 this morning.
Even the Met Service told us today's wind was unusually strong, and it didn't just whip through Wellington. Further north in Pahiatua, our crews captured this truck and trailer unit that had been fiercely blown into a farm paddock.
Yeah, it's diabolical. A strong gust of wind lifted his trailer off the ground, blew it across the road behind him.
Most, though, are used to it around here.
That's what part of Wellington's about.
You know, it being windy Wellington and all that. Simon, it's certainly not going to be a warm evening this evening in Wellington, but I spoke to the Met Service. They told me the winds are expected to clear this evening and things should be fine, fingers crossed, by tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Matt. Matt McLean live from Wellington.
This One News update is brought to you by ANZ. We live in your world.